Alrighty. This is my third time doing Real Academy, and my title is the Couch to Content series. And I'm going to see if the third time's a charm to share my screen and have you all see it. So let me get into presenter mode. All right. Can you all see my presentation? Great. Thank you. Awesome. So today, I really wanted to focus on what I've always been told I need to do and I don't do, is blocking your time for content. So I thought it would be appropriate to call this Unblock Your Content Time. My name is Chris Davis. I work on a team called Places in Maine. I live in Falmouth, Maine. Alex, who is also on this call, is a fellow team member hailing from Maine as well. I like to keep these as open, as fun as possible. If you want to stay on mute, that's great. If you want to correspond through the chat function, that is also great. Katie, thank you so much for starting that. And please feel free to jump in at any point. I'm very comfortable with this format at this point. So if you just want to ask questions, if you want to throw out an idea or share your own story, let's go for it. We have about 45 minutes today, and then we'll open it up to some time. Sound good? Fantastic. All right, so jumping right in. I always try to do updated relevant photos. If you follow me on Instagram or you are about to, you may know this past weekend, Alex, myself, and a crew of other people, we went off grid in Maine for a trail running weekend. And it was just an incredible experience. That's my brother and my dad who joined me. I'm a father of two daughters. I love to run, I love to swim, and I love to uphill ski. I'm a TV host of a program in Maine with Maine Life Media. You can find it on YouTube. I'm the team lead of the team called Places in Maine. I've sold over 130 homes in my 5 years and currently have 8 agents in my Real network. I've been with Real now for about 14 months. And working towards going for elite for the second time. So here's our schedule for today. We're going to do a little bit of a welcome. Then we're going to actually talk about the schedule. Going to go into different posting types, talk about the audience we may be going after. We'll jump into social channels and how to execute. And then I always like to end these just giving you all some video warm-ups and ways to follow up. Just to give this we'll call it lesson or class context, what I've really learned doing this now a few times. The type of content I do, and it's funny, it's taken me 2 months of presenting, is very organic. It is very in the moment. It is often not planned, but it is always consistent. And how I feel I've gotten a lot of my business through social media. Randy, thank you for being here. Is often through folks DMing me after engaging with my stories, usually on Instagram or any of the videos that I've put out on YouTube. And that is always a reminder to myself that if I want to keep doing the volume I do and the business I do and have the impact I'm able to, I need to continue up with my content. So this is not an Instagram specific class or a YouTube specific class. Today in particularly, I want to go over how we can capitalize on our busy lives that don't always allow for us to say every day from 9 to 10, I'm gonna content time, because inevitably something comes up. So hopefully at the end of this, we'll have some new fresh ideas for us all to jump right in. Does that sound good? Awesome, nod, thumbs. All right, we got a bunch of people. Katrina, Pervy, I see Colin, awesome. Feel free to throw your Instagram handles up in the chat at any point. I think it's always great if we can continue to follow, grow the Real network. And certainly if we're interested in video, we can all hold each other accountable and help each other out. I always start these classes with a let's start fresh and breathe. A lot of my training comes from being an actor. I still am an actor. I trained in New York City. And I'm always challenging myself to be more authentic, be more in the moment, and be more truthful. And there's no better way that I have found to do that than to just take a breath. It's a place of vulnerability. It's a way to show who you are. And one thing that I always envision in my mind are my two daughters. That's Beatrice and George. They got new leotards yesterday for gymnastics, which is their hot new thing they're into. And that photo was 2 days ago. And it just always gives me the moment to pause and breathe. I think it's also worth just saying thank you to you guys for showing up. I know there are a ton of these classes throughout the whole week. And one thing that I've really gained from the real community is sharing and listening and learning from others who are doing really cool stuff. The key thing that I love to tell people is our or your perspective matters. And particularly when we get online and on Instagram, on YouTube, or on Facebook, and our perspective matters in terms of what we're seeing in our life, in our business, in our fitness, what's going on with our kids. We're always working on collaborating with our audience out there, and they want to know how we feel about things, and that's going to help continue to bring them to our channels. So in turn, when they think of real estate, they think of us. I often hear the challenges people have of, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say. And I would challenge you to just know that you have a story in every moment of your day. Like right now, there's a story that you are here learning, you're listening. There's some guy from Maine talking with his girls in leotards. There is a story that someone out there is going to find interesting, and you should always feel comfortable and excited to tell it, simply because you don't know what could come of it. The impulse is one of the finest engine starters, I think, for content. So I don't know, has anyone ever had an impulse when you're out? I call it in the field, and you think, gosh, that would be a really great thing to post about. Colin, yes.
Yeah, just having, the interactions you have with clients, they ask a question that you take for granted, because me, you, everyone, we all breathe, eat, sleep, think real estate. My clients don't. So sometimes it's hard to identify some of those questions. So, for him, he didn't understand why he had to make a good faith escrow deposit. That was like a really concerning topic for him. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make that into a video.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you?
Not yet. I'm going to today.
Right on. I just had another, I wasn't going to say deposit one, but I had an inspection one this week that their first question was, okay, if we ask something, can the seller like walk away? And it's like, oh yeah, we forget that sometimes our buyers don't understand what the contract is and who has the opportunity to walk away. And that was a moment for me to be like, oh, buyers out there need to understand that like there shouldn't be fear within the contract, because the buyer is kind of the most protected, right? When we get into that, at least for our state. I understand contracts are different in every state. But Colin, yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. There are questions our clients ask us all the time that we know. I said this to Alex the other day. If we can answer a question to a client by DMing a video we made last week on what an earnest money deposit is, or a good faith deposit, doesn't that just save ourselves so much time? It brings them to our page. It shows them more content we have, and that can be an incredible way to communicate. Keep those videos updated, but it really shows that you're on top of it. And then I just want to say, here are the rules, and these are the rules of my life. I always have my phone with me, and I am always posting, whether I'm in the car, whether I'm at the grocery store, whether I'm picking up my kids. I live my life with my phone all the time, and there are challenges to that, I realize, but a lot of what I have found to be successful and work well for me really requires me to usually have my phone all the time. As realtors, we generally have our phone all the time because we're open all the time. But I think to really start to sum up and get clear on what I've done with social media and my video, it's because I always have it with me, because I don't want to miss a moment. Does anybody like struggle with when I should be on my phone, or when I should post, or start to put up any type of scaffolding or barriers with that?
You can address that briefly. That would be, I would appreciate it.
Sorry, I didn't know who said that. Was that Charles?
Yeah, Charles said it.
Just address having your phone with you and when to post kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah, great. I would say I've been a very avid poster for the 5 years I've been in real estate, to the point where I know if I have a week or a month where I'm not that active, 3 months down the road, I'm probably not going to sell a lot of houses. And what I've found is the more I'm engaged with my community, I just had a phone call before this presentation with a videographer, and he was asking me what I'm seeing out there for kind of trends and content. And I made a comment that, I really feel the lifestyle stuff is just having a lot more momentum and legs, as opposed to straight real estate content for the sake of promoting what I'm doing or what I've put under contract. And in that regard, Charles, I feel I like to live a very interesting life that has a lot of different opportunities. It's why I'm in real estate. So I could golf in the morning, show houses in the afternoon, vice versa, go for a run. I'm always working. I'm always thinking about my clients and what I have to do. And that in and itself is like a little TV show. And whenever you want to jump in and share with your audience what part of the journey you're on, and you sprinkle in some closings, you sprinkle in some under contracts, you sprinkle in, you signed a new buyer or a new listing, people start to equate the way you live your life in an interesting way that's applicable to you with the success you have as real estate. Because people really, I find, Charles, want to hire someone who's fun to be around. I'm not trying to get every piece of the pie out there. I'm trying to attract the clients that I think are going to be fun to work with and essentially fun to be clients with my whole life. And so by putting out, I still don't know if I like this quote, but your vibe attracts your tribe. And so putting out there what you believe in is going to attract those who also believe in it. And that's, to me, it's almost like a weight off my shoulders. Like, oh yeah, I'm not going to get every listing in my town because there's a bunch of people I never want to deal with on the seller side. But if I can get a bunch of people right now who want to move into my town because they're into the lifestyle of where I live and what we do and how we do it, well, then eventually they'll turn into my sellers, and they'll tell people about me, and we'll just keep building from there. Does that kind of give you a little context of that question, Charles? Awesome. Great question. Please keep them coming.
Thank you, sir.
Katrina loves the vibe attracts your tribe. It's a big one for real. We're not like actively out there recruiting agents to real. The idea is we attract. So I've had a number of agents say, hey, you seem like you're doing well. You seem like you're happy, but I don't know what real's about. Oh, let's have coffee and I'll tell you about it. People aren't attracted to real from the start. They're attracted to what I'm doing, and they want to know why I'm at where I'm at. And that opens up a great conversation. And if we can get into the attraction element through real and get the financial benefit, it's a really great way to go. All right, I could look at my kids all day. Who has seen King Richard? No? Oh, such a good movie. So it's the story of Serena and Venus Williams. Will Smith plays the father, and that's the real life father on the right. I think it should be the right of your screen. His name was Richard Williams, and he has this great plan. If I fail to plan, I plan to fail. He wrote a 78-page document before Venus and Serena were born about what his plan was to get them to be professional tennis superstars. In one way, that's like insane. In another way, that is amazing. And what he set out to do, he had a goal and he wrote a whole plan. What I think I do every day is set out to do a plan in my business, and it always goes, someone calls, they want to see something really quick. Someone calls and they need to know about 8 different houses so we can schedule showings. I have never been personally one to own my schedule, something I'm actively working on. And I mean it more in the minutia of it. And so what I thought would be fun to just discuss is what parts of our business in terms of our schedule do we prioritize? And I would love this. I need help here. So I'm going to reach out to you guys. What are your priorities when you look at your schedule for the week? Feel free to text them or yell them.
Well, at least for me, I do lots of lead generation. I make my calls. I don't have an issue making my calls. I do need to work on my follow-up, lots of follow-up, reach out, touch base.
Cool. That's great. Thank you for sharing. We certainly need to continually lead gen. That's how we get business. Anyone else want to share any priority they make throughout the week on their weekly schedule?
One priority I make, sorry to interrupt, Chris, and one that we've started plugging in our schedule as a team is, even at this point, it's pretty minimal, but it's an hour worth of kind of a wellness meeting that we've been doing, which I really enjoyed. And that's a focus on being outside. It's a focus on moving. We oftentimes within that context, we'll talk business, but we'll also talk family and things that are important to us in other facets of our life. And I think that's been really great. And I think it's been a really nice thing to be able to like plug in and to rely upon each week. Because it kind of gives you that time to reset, but also kind of gives you that time to talk in a different context. And we find, I think both you and I find anyway, that leads to sometimes creative ideas, and also more generally just like makes us feel better. So it's been good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Opportunity to feel better, opportunity to post and check in on business. We got lead gen, we got wellness. Any other ideas in terms of priorities that we can all share or help each other with?
Follow up.
Follow up. Nice. My mentor, Ryan Serhant, he'd say that's the number one thing you need to do. And scheduling that time to do that. Do you have any tricks, or what's your strategy or process for that, Charles?
Just from the top. Usually I try when I work my CRM, I put some follow-up notes in there for conversation I've had with a particular client or a lead, and I have to go back and talk to them, call them, text or email, and try to follow up to see where they are in the process. Sometimes it might take 6 months to convert the client, or even longer than that, but constant follow-up.
Yep. Awesome. Great work. And Randy,
One thing I failed to do is that I just sat through a short training video just a little while ago where you send your clients a $5 coffee shop gift card is a great reminder. That's follow-up, which I don't do of much.
Yeah.
And I need to do that.
Yeah. It's I know I've had lenders send me those $5 cards. I don't know. I've never actually done it, but I imagine you can get a bunch of follow-up done pretty quick just by knowing an email address, and then they get to hear from you. Randy said sharpening his skills, great priorities. What about challenges? What challenges do we have in our schedule? This could be anything that comes up. This could be something that you can't prioritize.
I think unexpected, like family things, you know, being the dad to young kids, you know, I think sometimes situations come up with them, you can't really plan it. And obviously we're in this business to support them first. I personally move my schedule around to accommodate them over my clients. So sometimes that's a little bit of a challenge to reprioritize like the client's schedule after I recover on that.
Yep. Right on. Thank you for sharing, Randy. That is hopefully one most clients can understand, but knowing how hard you work, Randy, I know there's always a part of us that's like, oh, how can I rework that? And hopefully it'll all work out. But having the mindset that that's who you take care of first puts that priority there, and also can make that a challenge. I had a challenge today where there's a showing tomorrow, and then it's a 1 hour block that just came on the market. My client's out of state, trying to finagle that time zone difference. But I also had a pre-planned meeting a week ago to meet someone. So then it's the challenge of who do I reschedule? I need to get that client in, but I was really hoping to have that meeting. And that stuff pops up all the time. surprises, things that pop up, whether you get a phone call and you're suddenly under contract and you need to schedule inspections, contact a lender and move that. That's one of those good surprises, but I've certainly had those kind of derail. And on the opposite end, I think surprises, deals fall through. And all of a sudden we're back to square one with a lot of people. And then our schedule always has limitations. We've got a great broker in our community, and I was telling Alex about this, who's really, really specific with their availability, and you can hear it in their voicemail. And I said earlier, hey, we're always available, we're always open. I know that's not always the case, but I'm always on the quest to find more time in my life, but also do more business. So I'm always curious, does anyone put limitations on their hours when their phone's on or off?
Very hard to set limitations sometimes. I try to like put boundaries because I mean I don't know the name of the person who was speaking earlier about having kids at home, and another challenge that I have too is I'm working full time, and I mean it's really hard to let go of the full-time job because it's not like the salary that I'm at is like it's a no joke, so I'm trying to like balance everything. So it's like there's like surprises in the morning and it's just a mess. So that's the challenge, a lot of challenges that I'm facing. It's hard to set boundaries. So I mean I wanted to ask to like what are your non-negotiables in terms of like schedules?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm almost embarrassed to be like, gosh, what are they? Well, one, I really prioritize, I would say like wellness and fitness during the week. So this time of year, I'm prioritizing like at least 9-hole round of golf, prioritizing a wellness meeting with my team. And I really try to prioritize the mornings with my wife and the kids. So that's coffee, that's breakfast. One thing I try to play around with is do not disturb mode on the iPhone. I think that's one of the greatest gifts of that technology. So if clients are texting me at 6 or 7 a.m., which they do, they at least know that I'm not accepting messages at that time, and I'll know to follow up later. One thing I need to be better at is prioritizing date night once a month. I've got it planned for this month, so I feel accomplished with my wife. But other than that, we can only do so much. And if someone needs something really last minute, I think for me, it's really a gut check. Does this need to happen today? Does this need to happen in this moment? And sometimes that's complex. It's a call into the listing agent. What's the action like? Is it a seller who might be calling someone else if I don't show up for the listing appointment? But it's definitely a constant battle in our business. And I don't say that to be grim. Sometimes I think it's the business we signed up for, but through constant development and interaction and networking. And for me, like working with Alex, one of us is able to go away for the weekend so the other can handle the showings and the clients, for instance. Awesome. Katrina, thank you for sharing. And Randy said a hard stop at 7. Sharon puts a great expectation in place. If I hear from you and I do not expect to, I'm going to think something is wrong. Love that. Katie is in a very dynamic situation. Homeschools her kids, constantly working in the pockets of my day. You are an absolute warrior, Katie. Keep crushing it. So yeah, I think that's a great example, Katie, where the time blocking probably doesn't always work. A lot of potential interruptions. And I put as the last bullet point, the has tos. In my world, what has to happen every day is I have to be present on social media. That's just been the anchor of my business. The Rock, that's my lead gen. And to me, it's like checking in with myself. So whether that's a quick check-in after I drop off kids at school or daycare, whether that's a shot from the gym to show I'm keeping up with my fitness goals, or it's something real estate related. Something that's always on my mind every day is I need to be out there and I need to be sharing. And I aim to do that in an authentic, truthful way. Charles had to hop off. No worries. Just recognizing the moment here. We all have different challenges and different priorities, and we all have very complex schedules. I hope maybe through this next few slides, I can give you a few tidbits to help you increase your content sharing, which will result in you sharing more about you, which my goal and hope would be that you then attract more people who are interested into what you're doing. I'd love to talk about posting types. I think anyone who's starting out, going from the couch to the content, might be wondering, what do I post about? One day I was walking under a pier a few months ago and I posted about it, only to say it was a cool picture and it was a cool moment in time. Didn't really have anything profound to say. But the reason I was on that beach was because I needed a vacation rental for a client. So I was just posting a bunch of content trying to attract people in that area who might have property. And so I wrote, this is the moment I've arrived at, now film it. Reaction posts are some of my favorites. Lockbox videos, lockbox photos, sellers who put sticky notes all over their house. Like, that is just posting gold. And people have literally given you that silver spoon to then just snap a photo, snap a video, snap a reaction to. And up in New England, we've got crazy basements. Some are like 300 years old. Some have raccoons in them. And so I know for us in our market, reactions to basements get a ton of love and a ton of likes. Anybody have any good reaction posts or videos that they've seen or filmed lately? I just watched one from the Bigger Pockets guy, David Green. He was doing a reaction video to a headline, which is a common one. If you follow Joe Herrera from Real in Vegas, he's always commenting on, they put the still image behind them and then green screen. This David Green guy was talking about how Blackstone is investing or had raised $30 billion for their new real estate fund. His reaction only to say like, oh, if you think prices are going to come down and slow down, the big guy in the back is literally building the war chest to go buy up everything. That's a bit more about the truth about the news on my last bullet, but regardless, it's something out there, it's within our world, and people want to know what our perspective is, because if they're on our page, usually they're interested in us. Reporting anything local. Today we have a local election today. I'm going to go vote after this. A great opportunity to just engage with your community, show that you're active. One of my favorite ones is, and I don't do it enough, is celebrating other agents. I think the integrity of our industry is always in peril. And so the more we can look like we all work together and celebrate each other's success, regardless of the uniform on our back, is such a great way to promote faith and goodwill in what we do and not be so cutthroat and competitive. Florida wildlife. Yeah, absolutely. I just had a client from Alaska send me an orca video, and I'm just thinking I might need to post that. Alex posted a video of a whale shooting a rainbow spout out of its back. That's just a nice time. Those are good things. Any other posting types that anyone tries to do or think about in their their week? Cool. All right. Awesome. We're gonna keep cranking. Oh, someone wanted to type. Fitness gets my most engagement. It's because you look so good working out, Randy Hightower. I remember when I first signed up with Ryan Serhant like 3 years ago. The thing I bought into him the most was how he got up at like 4:30 every day and worked out. So for like the first month of this course I took with him, I just woke up every day at 4:30 and hopped on my spin bike and tagged him and posted about it. And I don't think people were as impressed with me working out so much as they were like, wow, you really like this guy, huh? And that was the most interesting thing. So then the more I posted about Ryan, I think people are like, oh, yeah, that Ryan guy is pretty cool. Oh, so like, you know him? And then it led to all these other things. Didn't really have to do with me working out in the morning, but it was one vehicle to get some attention in terms of what I was trying to be like or emulate. A bunch of different ways to be perceived, of course, and healthy activity is a great way. All right. The audience. I find a common fear or misconception about posting is, you know, what are people going to think of me? Why do they need to hear that? I'm actually getting ready to do a sermon at my church on Sunday, which is something I never do. I'm just talking about my faith on Father's Day as a parent. And I was kind of being coached by another realtor who used to be a pastor. And he gave me the great kind of idea of why do these people need to hear this now? Why does your life depend on being here, and why does their life depend on listening? And that reminded me of a great lesson that I learned during acting school, is just, why are you up here? And if you don't have a really good reason or something anchoring you, some might call it their why, what's the point of doing it? And not to say every post or video or photo that you share, you know, it doesn't need to be like the most profound thing ever. It could just be, I feel really good and I'm drinking a lot of water today. Someone out there needs to hear that. Someone's also struggling with hydration, and they want to know that they can ask you, like, cool bottle, does that help you? That Stanley that everyone is buying? And you might just say, yeah, I've tried 4 water bottles and the Stanley is the best because of the straw. Whatever it might be, all of a sudden I've now engaged with someone over one way of hydrating. If you're wondering about, I don't know, should I do this or should I not? I would just say, what do you have to lose? Assuming you're being appropriate and professional and not super political, what do you have to lose? If it's a story, it's going to disappear in 24 hours anyways. And the most important one, I think, is, what business am I missing out on? You know, your next client could be your biggest one. And if they're really into hydrating as well, and they don't see my post about drinking a lot of water, that could be a massive deal, client, commission, life referral partner, whatever it is. If we think about all the opportunity that is out there and how we can capture it, that's all I need to know, like, great, I'm going to post it. Because never ever before has it been that easy to get in front of as many people as possible now that we have our phone and all these channels to clue into. Any thoughts or ideas about audience and how people think about it? Do you only think about your followers? Do you think about other people out there and how you might get in front of them? Do you worry about your audience?
Yeah, I'll chime in real quick. So you made that little comment about, like, I drink water, you know, I got to get your 32 ounces in, whatever. There's a client out there who appreciates health and they're like, hey, that speaks to me. And that's kind of the funny thing about posting some of these videos is, like, you know, as agents, we want to be the subject matter expert and we want to share all our knowledge, and that's good and great. But I have gotten like serious traction with like a video about how to make focaccia, and someone else is like, oh, I love cooking. That's so cool, Colin, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
You know, that's one little thing that can help
Yeah.
you sell yourself, because, you know, they don't just need a realtor, they need somebody to get along with. So
Absolutely.
if you like bicycling or plants, or, you know, share some of the stuff you like that doesn't have to be real estate related.
Yeah. Well, I'm obviously following you now because I have no idea how to make focaccia.
It's easy.
Okay, great. No, I believe you. And the idea being, if that person who just got excited about focaccia suddenly woke up the next morning and realized they could not stand their primary bathroom, who do I call? Ah, the focaccia guy, right? Super cool, super awesome. So in one way to think about your audience is like, I haven't even met my audience yet. You know, I've been waiting to meet someone passionate about focaccia who I can help.
Yeah, I mean, to go off of that, I think like another avenue to explore is often like just getting an opinion on something, or looking or seeking a service of some kind, and being honest in that. Intention often leads to conversations with people, and it's often like my followers who I may know very well, and they may not know about the subject matter at all. Like for example, like my record player that wasn't working, but then they refer me to someone else who does know what they're talking about. And so that like kind of can lead to another opening, extending your network, not only like for practical purposes, but also for business related purposes. It can be super helpful.
Absolutely. I love that. Let's get that record player fixed.
Still broken.
Great comment from Katrina. How about haters? I have a realtor friend who's worried about haters in her Facebook group. That's a good question. I guess my thought on it is like, I've started to be really selective in a way of like who, if I sense negative energy, I get rid of them. Because I just don't need it. And chances are Instagram's going to figure that out, or Facebook, and they're going to deliver all that negative energy. So what I can do is just block or unfollow or mute. And that goes back to, it's not just how big your audience is, but like the quality of it. You want people who are going to get value from you, but also provide some back. There are certainly, any press is good press, haters going to hate. Oh, that's all good. Yeah. I think true. There's part of Facebook, right, that I think is a little harder to silence, maybe. But yeah, I would say if people are spending time hating on you, they're just getting other people to read your thread who are probably then going to sympathize with you, maybe, and that could be a bonus. But yeah, that's something we deal with, and hopefully the younger generation will figure out, because ours and above us certainly hasn't.
You know, I have, sorry to interrupt you. I have had like not like a super negative reaction, and that actually has never happened, which I feel thankful for. But I have had people, in terms of like real estate related videos and like perhaps an opinion on marketing or approach or whatever. I have had people question that, which is great because it leads to a little bit of a back and forth. And in one case, it actually led to like a full-on phone conversation with this person who I haven't talked to in years about, you know, what I posted, but then like it led to like a very interesting discussion about real estate in general. And so even sometimes when there's that little bit of like resistance in a comment or a DM or whatever, it can also, again, kind of lead to a more productive conversation. Not always, but sometimes.
Yeah, it could lead to you then posting a poll, be like, hey, I got some weird reactions. Here's a poll. That could increase engagement on Facebook or Instagram. I think it also just goes back to like our perspective matters. And that's like the best sign that it does matter, if it then ignites a reaction in someone else to either counter you and or want more information from you. That's great content. All right, I think we're going to get into the nitty gritty here. So I want to kick it off with Instagram. Here's an idea I wrote in the kind of write up for this program that I want to focus on 3 different key areas to give folks some ideas, some things to hold on to. If you're going to try to post every day, whether it's something on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, even within Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, you have multiple different ways you could be posting. So for stories, I try to keep my stories active every day. And that's a great time to do these reactions that we've talked about, whether you're on a showing, whether you're on an appointment, whether you're buying coffee, supporting a local business. Maybe the price went down, maybe the price went up, maybe they're out of sugar-free vanilla syrup, and you might have an opinion about that. Photos and polls, these are all great ways. I like polls a lot lately because sometimes it shows me that people I wouldn't really think are paying attention. And once you see a pattern in that, it's then just really easy to DM and be like, hey, how are you? Like, that's not weird or creepy or out of the blue, because they've already engaged with you a few times. And in some cases that's resulted in like, oh, I'm doing great. I'm glad you reached out. I've actually been thinking about like this lake property or whatever it might be. But you buy yourself some, I was going to say like social credit, but like some social accountability by having them engage with your stories, and then you be proactive and you reach out. Reels are such an incredible way, I find, to move the needle, get attention, get people excited about what you're doing, put some energy into the world, just put a hot track underneath it and show some beautiful scenery, or honestly, like what you're thinking of right now. I have 2 up on my Instagram that have been doing really well. One, I think it's just because the cover image says black mold, even though it's my face. But I'm talking about a post-inspection report and how we handled talking about mold to a new buyer. And then I did one on heat pumps because that morning I felt like I didn't really have anything to talk about, but we have heat pumps in my house. So I gave a quick educational tutorial about heat pumps that falls into our world. And those are just 2 easy ways. There's a lot of on Instagram now that a photo with a really good write-up, if that's allowing people to stay on your page or your tile for a while, that performs just as well as Reels. Ultimately, Instagram wants to see how long people are focused on your profile and or your content. So however you get them there, that is going to help you get ahead and get more engagement. I don't always know the ins and outs of Instagram and the algorithm, but I feel like that is one we got recently at a real event in Massachusetts. Giselle Ugardi was there, who's a big social media coach. And she always, if you don't follow her, I can put her name in the chat, but she often gives great advice on where the trends are in Instagram. Facebook, I'll be honest, I'm not on Facebook a lot, but I know there are a lot of people who love it because there seems to still be like one demographic who's holding on to it. And I experience a lot on Facebook, and I think Marketplace is one of the most underutilized places to post about real estate. Whether it's a listing you have in Marketplace, because the comments are just so good. Whether it's a rental you know about, or if you're just selling something. Let's see, who's buying used furniture right now? College kids moving into town, or anyone who just moved into a house, and then you're able to get contact information, cell phone. In some cases, I've met renters who are looking to buy. Marketplace is such a world to understand where people are in their housing journey when you're selling furniture. Reels, take your reel from Instagram and just dump it right into Facebook. Facebook Live is always a great way to go. It lives on. People get notified. I never even look what people are going live for, but I think like, oh, they're going live. Must be something cool. I don't even know what they're doing. But that's how that stuff works. It's just like sending an invite to a party, whether they can make it or not. It's cool that you're throwing a party. And you can always create an event for that live event. So if it's an open house, maybe you start 15 minutes early and you go live on Facebook, give people a tour. Then you're going to take that and you're going to put it right up on the Marketplace. DMing through Facebook, I find, and if anyone agrees with me, just put up a finger, but like even in my world, a DM on Facebook has a different weight than a DM on Instagram. And I don't know if it's just because I've had Facebook way longer or Facebook was the OG, but that's how I feel. And I use that as a source to try to connect with people who I rarely engage with, because there still seems to be this like fun DM nature on Facebook that to me seems a bit more legacy, whereas DMs on Instagram are just the norm. Am I like totally off on that? Anyone else feel that way? It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I'm always fine being on my own. YouTube, you can take those reels that you just uploaded to Facebook, you can throw them into shorts. So if you don't have the YouTube app on your homepage of your iPhone right next to Facebook and Instagram, make sure you do upload that video as a short. That's been getting a lot of attention on my YouTube page. People watch those, very similar. We talked a little bit about the reaction videos to a headline. You can react to a cover photo, screenshot the cover photo of a YouTube video, and maybe you can have a reaction to that. Maybe it's something as big as like a Mr. Beast video that everyone wants to know what your reaction is, or it could just be some local story. And then I consider YouTube to be like that next caliber of content when it's in long form. So just remembering to always watch as much YouTube content as time allows. We all know our crazy schedules. We've already been over that, but I use that a lot just to inspire myself to then call the videographer and say, hey, we got to do a 2-hour session. I need to get some more video content out on YouTube. I've always put YouTube kind of in a different bucket. I have my quick hitting stuff I put up on stories. I have some slightly more self-polished stuff that will go up on Reels, and then I'll have YouTube content that will live a little bit longer. Carol, thank you so much for the compliment. I really appreciate that. Those were my 3 that I wanted to dive into to make sure you're always ready and to have another priority and a has to. Start every morning from a point where you're literally camera ready. Warm up the mouth, warm up the breath, the energy, your style. One thing I do that I think contributes to the success is I record a new voicemail every day, except Sunday. And to me, that just gets me into a voice and an energy and a headspace where I feel like I'm on camera, but I am putting out a voicemail to put energy out into the world that if anyone's to call me and I don't pick up, hopefully they'll get a vibe and hopefully they'll get attracted to my tribe. That's one way of doing energy. It might be fitness. It might just be having a really good walk or a meal or a phone call to a friend or a family member. And it's just another time of preparation in your day to remember, I'm going to post today. Yeah, feel free to steal the voicemail. I stole it from my dad, and I think it's one of the best things ever. Feel free to follow me. Feel free to reach out. Feel free to share your videos with me, or feel free to be like, hey, can you remind me to do a video tomorrow? I do all of those things for anyone. I might reach out to you for help. And hopefully you'll offer as well. But I love to collaborate. Instagram makes it really easy to go live with another follower on Instagram, and you can talk about anything. For folks who live in different places of the world, it might be a good opportunity to talk about just what your market is seeing here and there, or something totally unrelated to real estate. Always shoot for 1 video or reel a week, 3 stories a week on a talking point of something in your life. Feel free to reach out. And then next month, for my 4th month, I'm going to bring in a special guest and do kind of a collaborative meeting, which I haven't done yet, which I'm really excited about. And who is the special guest? I don't know yet, but I have 30 days to figure that out. But you will know about it in about 3 weeks. So I just want to thank you. Here's my contact information. Please feel free to reach out. Maine, Carol, whenever you come, let us know. We'll tell you all the places in Maine to go to and those not to go to. But yeah, I just want to open it up now. We got, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. You guys have all been really great. Thank you for collaborating and offering some insight. Hopefully I didn't talk too much. But any thoughts, any reflections, any goals you want to put out into the world, manifestations?
I got a quick one in regard to the social media stuff. A cool little tool everyone can use if you guys got pen and paper, called IFTTT on the App Store, Android, iPhone, and it stands for if this then that, and it syncs up like all your social media and all kinds of other applications. But I use it to link my Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, so I don't have to like hop on each app individually and post. It'll like piggyback the post into the next app. And yeah, I only downloaded it yesterday. It's been in my notepad to do, but
Yeah,
that should save everyone a lot of time if you don't have somebody working for you.
I think you just saved our lives, Colin.
Yeah,
Downloading.
it's
right
free, by the way.
now.
Yeah.
Sweet. Oh, thank you. That's great.
It's not just for social media. It links up, like you can link it up with Alexa and other things.
Yeah. That's awesome. You know, there definitely was like a time in the progression of social media where it was like, you know, you need really specific here and specific there. And I don't think you do. I think we're used to seeing the same stuff across multiple platforms. If anything, it's like it's constantly reminding. So So I'm excited to jump into that app. I appreciate that. That's a great tip. Katrina asked how many hours spending on posting in a week. A great question. I have no idea. I don't track it, but I'd have to imagine like, gosh, an hour a day, probably. If I'm doing some like heavy editing on a free app called CapCut, maybe an hour and a half a day. You're welcome. Thank you for taking that photo, Randy.
Well, you know, I gotta boost your Insta, man, you know?
Thanks. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Is there any topics or ideas or thoughts for those still in the class that you would like kind of for future classes or more info on, or something I didn't answer that you were hoping we would cover? Sometimes if you wait, the answer will come. Just waiting. No, cool. All right. Well, then maybe I did my write-up really well. But if there ever is, or if there's something you want to even just talk about, not on the schedule, I'm always down to throw ideas around or look at videos or talk about what's trending, because we all want to, you know, we all want to be relevant. We all want to be fresh, and, you know, we all want to be kind of just true to ourselves to keep that going. Awesome. Colin, where are you from?
Sanford, Florida, right outside Orlando.
Oh, right on.
Yep.
Sweet. Randy from Utah. Katrina, where are you from? You can chat it and I'll read it.
I'm from Toronto, Canada.
Oh, nice. Right on. Big market up there. Priscilla is from Calgary. Yeah, we met earlier. Carol, what about you? Kissimmee. Oh, I was just there in April.
Kissimmee.
You got a, no, what is it? Kissimmee? How do you say it? Yes. Okay, thank you. Bel Air, Maryland. Right on. Did I forget anyone? Real Academy. They are from Real Academy. High Point, North Carolina. Oh my gosh. Wow. I was just with a really good friend this weekend who's from High Point University, works in the chapel there. Awesome. All righty. Well, I guess we still have a few minutes, but just want to say thank you all. Yeah, I'm going to gift you the 7 minutes you booked in the rest of your calendar to go out there and make a post. And I know Alex threw his Insta handle in there if anyone else wants to. Mine is up on the screen right now. Feel free to tag, and we will all share and tag together, and we'll keep crushing it. I appreciate the feedback, guys. This is really helpful, and it's just really sweet and supportive, and that's what this community continues to show itself to be. So awesome, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. I'll see you in a month, second Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would love to keep collaborating. Have a great summer.
Adios, amiga.
Ciao.
Thanks.